Mahadev. Jupiter Saturn Mercury Conjunction, which is one of the most complex conjunctions in Vedic astrology. How does this funambulist mind goes through an intellectual survival? Let's figure it out in this video today. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and watch till the end. What is funambulism? Funambulism is an act of balancing or walking on an empty rope or a cable. One has to finish from point A to B, holding on to a shaft and walk through a long cable. That is called funambulism, which you must have seen. So, the Jupiter Saturn people are actually funambulist. They take one step at a time. They finish tasks with utmost care and too much of focus, like a funambulist. Okay, I have explained this concept in detail in my two planetary conjunction here, Saturn Jupiter conjunction. Please watch if you want to. So, these people, those who are like a funambulist, now has to deal with the association or the companionship of Mercury with them to walk that rope of life. So, what happens? You see, Saturn is a planet which represents contraction. Saturn wants to delay the hell out of everything. He wants to delay everything, put lot of obstacles in between the paths of each and everybody's goals or plans or dreams and desires. Okay. Why does Saturn do so? Because he wants the native to focus and be more aware of everything. Okay. So that he can have a stubborn, relentless pursuit of that idea which he is chasing or he is pursuing. But what is Jupiter? Jupiter is that benevolent, remarkable blessing which everybody has. Jupiter is the only planet who is the most beneficial, who wants to shower the natives with grace and grace. Jupiter represents expansion of every horizon of that individual's life, especially the house and the sign where Jupiter sits, and also the aspects, right? You must be knowing basic astrology. Now, Jupiter here is with Saturn. Okay, Saturn wants to restrict the expansion of the Jupiter. He doesn't like to Jupiter to be stretched out everywhere. He doesn't like that, Saturn. So he cuts away, he removes and restricts and suppresses the activities of Jupiter and doesn't let the person feel fulfilled or meaningful, because Jupiter is all about meaning, right, as you know very well. So the person becomes confused and he doesn't know what to do in his life, he or she. So they remain confused and quiet. But whenever they take up an initiative, whenever they plan something to do, to expand or to add meaning to their activities or to their initiatives, Saturn acts there as a villain. The Saturnian natives, probably those who are working in their life as Saturnian native, or his own mind, his own consciousness, okay, makes it very, very practical, very, very, aware, and fills his mind or her mind with self-doubt. Okay, you are planning for that course, but will you be able to finish it on time? Does your father has that much of money to send you abroad? Or are you good enough to pursue that? Okay, this kind of doubt, this kind of difficulties. A small businessman wants to take a loan from a bank. He knows that he can do it, he can expand his business by just taking the loan, which is very, very secure. Yet he is fearful of the realistic apprehensions, the fear of the future, the insecurities he feels due to the influence of Saturn, that, oh God, what if I miss 2-3 EMIs, I will go into default, I will become a default, and what will happen? Okay. So, this kind of scenarios, Saturn, Jupiter. Now, Mercury is also here. What happens to the Mercury? As you must be knowing, Saturn Mercury is also a very difficult conjunction. Okay. If you don't know, watch this here. Okay, Saturn Mercury. Here Mercury is all about following the Saturnian guidelines. Saturn wants to shape the Mercury, to sharpen it, make it razor sharp, very realistically, analytically intelligent, so that the person becomes a genius, and they become genius people, Saturn Mercury people. So, Mercury is also here. Mercury influenced by the Jupiter. What happens? Jupiter, when he sees Mercury, even though Mercury is treated as an enemy by the Jupiter, because Jupiter treats him as enemy, he doesn't like, because again in his Jupiterian expansion, Mercury brings in lot of logic which Jupiter doesn't like. He makes it think too much. Hey, you think too much, let's go to Goa. You know, the Goa plan never happens because of Mercury. Okay, so like that, Mercury makes Jupiter confused. So Jupiter doesn't like, but yet when Mercury and Jupiter together, watch this video here, Mercury learns, because actually Mercury was the best student of Jupiter. Okay, he studied in the Gurukul, in the university of Jupiter actually. Okay, and he became Somang Sarvaguna Petang. He endued with all qualities, versatile qualities, Mercury. That's why we all need Mercury. A good Mercury is required. Person with a bad Mercury, it's very difficult to deal with. Okay, I have seen many clients. Okay, they don't understand a thing, whatever I explain, or anybody explains. Okay, so anyways, but with Saturn and Jupiter, the Mercury is continuously getting shaped. Continuously, the Saturn is suppressing it, making it razor sharp. Jupiter is expanding it, giving it more syllabus to learn, more study material to imbibe, grasp. At the end of the day, what is happening to the Mercury? Mercury is becoming more sharp, quiet, is not speaking, because Saturn Mercury people do not speak that well. Not that well, they are afraid of speaking, because they are afraid that if I say something wrong, I might be I might feel embarrassed, or something will happen which will cause embarrassment to me. So they stay quiet instead of speaking. So all these things are happening because of this. Okay, but Mercury is ultimately what it is. It is the decision making. It is the discernment, the viveka. Okay, the remarkable quality of the human being, the Shrestha Jiva, meaning the best living organism, the living we are the best, right, because of our mind. What we can process, the other animals cannot process. Even the whale, who has more neural connections in his brain, in their brain, okay, yet they are not as great as we are. Okay, so because we have that capacity of discernment, okay, which Mercury gives us. So it's very important for the Mercury to become matured and to become continuously develop, so that we can have the ultimate decision making, the discriminating faculty, and develop that faculty within to know what is true and what is false. Neti, not this, as our Vedantic text says, that we understand at the end that who we are. Anyways, so that is Mercury. So Mercury is now associated with Jupiter and Saturn. He has to deal with all these difficulties. Expansion of Jupiter and contraction of Saturn. Jupiter wants to expand, Saturn wants to contract. Expansion and contraction. Expansion is life and contraction is death. Saturn represents death, right? But Saturn actually tests us. He doesn't want to make us die, okay? He tests our limits and boundaries, okay? And actually he wants to make our longevity enlarged. Saturn wants us to live long. Okay, so here what is happening, this survival of the intellect, okay, the intellectual survival which I have written, so that is what is happening here. The person is surviving, he is letting his intellect, who is going through so much of blows, too much of knowledge and too much of information he is processing, where Jupiter is infusing all that divine intelligence coming from within, intuitive learning coming from within, just by simply thinking the person is learning, that also is there. Through his societal and life experiences he is learning, by studying, by watching videos, YouTube videos he is learning, okay, all that learning, yet he is unable to expand or add more meaning to his life. Whatever initiatives he takes, that gets suppressed or delayed, or he has to face various difficulties and failures, then he thinks, what is wrong? Why can't I figure it all out? Okay, so in that way he goes on and he keeps balancing the shaft, his life, on that naked cable rope where he has nobody as help, okay, except me. Okay, so there he is continuously in the survival mode where he is the intellectual survival is happening. Okay, he is not losing his mind is becoming more sharper and sharper, more practical, more realistic, more perseverance is coming and telling him that yes, you can win the battle of your life, or you can become that bigger businessman, or pursue that engineering degree in Germany or somewhere else, if you take one step at a time. Okay, continuous repetitive step, prolonged slow progression and expansion of that Jupiter, not boom expansion. Jupiter Mahadasha comes in somebody else's life and he gets probably he gets a breakthrough, wins a lottery, or his father becomes the MLA, okay, or he marries a girl and the girl's father gives him a big loan, okay, this kind of things happen in Jupiter's Mahadasha, okay, but here it doesn't happen. Okay, so continuously delayed, prolonged, step by step, with periodic gaps, expansion happens in their life, and that is the goal. That is how they have to progress ahead. They cannot run on that rope. The moment you try to run, you fall. You can only reach from point A to B if you do not stop. Even if you stop, you fall. You try to run, you fall. Okay? Only you can take one step at a time. In order to be steady, in order to stay, in balance or keep moving, they must move, not stop, but one step at a time, with periodic gaps, one step at a time, right? So this is the whole and soul of this particular conjunction. I hope you understand the gist of this particular video, and this will change your life and you will understand the main message here which I am trying to make, and you will give me a like here and subscribe. For consultations, please visit my website down below, astroraja8.com. I will see you in the next one, a very interesting one. Har Har Mahadev.